on both Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. This is kind of how it's going to go for the next hour. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I will be able to address those. Now, the comments is not a place for you to be adding your resume and asking for specific feedback on your resume. That's not really recommended because this is public. So, publicly available on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. Most resumes have private information on it, whether it's your contact information or even proprietary information from your employers. So it's just not safe to be putting that in the comments for a public event like this. But if you have questions, drop them down in the comments anywhere you're at here. Happy to answer those questions about your resume and what struggles you're having with landing interviews specifically. So I'm not going to be giving necessarily interview tips, but I am going to be giving some resume tips to help you land that interview. Now, I was mentioning on Instagram already because I started my stream there a little early, but just so those of you joining on YouTube and LinkedIn know, this has been an invite sent out to quite a few recruiters and hiring professionals that I'm connected with on LinkedIn. I'm hoping that those professionals feel comfortable enough to chime in the comments if they have feedback to give based on the tips that I'm sharing, or even if they have their own questions. I've done quite a few HR resumes in the past, so I'm happy to answer their questions. No shame in an HR professional asking a resume writer for some tips. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Again, don't hesitate to add your questions to the comments. I'll be answering them throughout this stream. But until I have some questions pop in, I'm going to go ahead and start covering some pieces of information that a lot of people don't know about the application process. I want to start with one of the most common things I'm hearing from job seekers, which is I was rejected instantly or very quickly. And when I say rejected, I mean one of those emails or notifications where, frankly, they're just told they're not qualified, they're not selected to move forward. Someone else was selected, someone else more qualified. There's a lot of different messages that you may get if you send in an application. But if you're getting it instantly within minutes of applying, or even if you're getting it within the first 24 hours, that seems really quick. The problem isn't your resume. It's actually how you answered one or more of the application knockout questions. So, knockout questions are typically um, pre-selected answers. So there'll be a drop down or a yes or a no type question where there is a correct answer. And these are questions that'll likely relate to eligibility or qualification. So, do you have over 5 years of experience in this skill? Yes or no. Or maybe they'll say, how many years of experience do you have in this skill? And give you a drop down or a couple options. Those are knockout questions. So if you don't answer them correctly, meaning the answer aligns with exactly the answer they're looking for a qualified candidate, that will likely get you that instant or rather quick rejection notification. The reason it's not your resume is because most applicant tracking systems, resume screening softwares, they aren't necessarily relying 100% on the resume to determine whether or not you are qualified. They're looking at multiple aspects. Your resume is being scanned, that information is being stored in ATS so that it can build a profile for you. And then it takes your application questions and it adds that to that profile it's building for you. And if you don't have certain elements in your profile, then you can potentially get rejected. So it's not 100% your resume. It's not that your resume is getting rejected. It's normally something to do with your general application. So that's a common issue that I see come up with job seekers that are really frustrated because they're just not landing interviews. They're getting instantly or very quickly rejected and they think it's their resume. It's probably not. It's probably how you're answering those knockout questions in the application. So I am curious, do we have any questions yet about resume writing, applicant tracking systems, ATS? That's the resume screening software that you will often be uploading your resume to. Even LinkedIn is an ATS. Indeed is an ATS. So it's not just individual company pages on their website, it's these bigger places that you upload your resume to that are applicant tracking systems. All right, I don't see any questions in the comments yet. So let's talk about another thing that I'm hearing a lot of from job seekers who are frustrated because they're just not landing interviews. And their concern is my resume doesn't have the right keywords. I'm using JobScan, I'm using Resume Worded, I'm using SkillSyncer, and I'm just not getting through these keyword searches that ATS are doing. Well, let's talk about keyword optimization. So there's two ways to look at keyword optimization. There's keyword optimization for resume screening software, and there's keyword optimization for recruiters. Now, I have heard from recruiters specifically that they will read or look at your resume when you apply for jobs online. It's not that you're being rejected because of your resume, you're being automatically rejected because of an application question, but let's assume you don't get rejected and you're going through the resume screening software, they're going to see your resume as well as that profile being built within the ATS. So they have to physically go in, click on, and view your resume, or they can download it and look at it offline as well. And so there's two ways to look at keyword optimization. You can optimize your resume purely for algorithms or resume screening software. That's going to be a lot more unnatural approach to keyword optimization, and you're going to be spending a lot of time worrying about what keywords are in your resume. Then there's keyword optimization for your resume's other readers, which are going to be recruiters, hiring decision makers. These people are actual people. These are human readers that are looking for certain words, either by using search, sort, and filter settings in an ATS, or they're going to be looking for them in that actual skim that they have the resume. So you don't necessarily need dozens of keywords in your resume to get through resume screening software and to land an interview. You need to narrow down the top, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 keywords that are going to be the top functional job related skills and qualifications that they're looking for. So maybe that's a certification. Think of a certification that is required as a keyword that needs to be found in your resume. Certain skills, like, if you're applying for a project manager job, they're looking for the words project management or managing projects. They're looking for those terms. So you really just need to narrow down the top skills, the top functional job related skills that are needed for that job to be qualified for that job. Those are the keywords you really need to worry about optimizing your resume for, not the dozens and dozens of keywords recommended by these online services and resume screening tools like JobScan or SkillSyncer or Resume Worded. So, what are your thoughts on that? Does that kind of, alleviate some of the frustration that you feel when you're, working on your resume? I see we have some questions here. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, if you don't tick all of the boxes, is there a way to get past that? Yes, we are actually going to be talking about how to bypass, in some ways, ATS. I will go ahead and dive right into that one right now, actually. So let's take a look at that. So if you have work history timeline issues, or if you are missing credentials, then you can essentially skip the line or bypass ATS, but you have to take the initiative to do so. And what that means is you can't rely on your online application. You can't rely on uploading your resume to land you the interview. What you have to do is take some additional job search strategies and apply those to your search, such as networking, employer targeting, recruiter outreach. So here's what that might look like. I've heard recruiters say if you don't apply, you don't exist. So you still have to apply. You can't completely bypass ATS by just not applying. But what you can do, for example, let's say on LinkedIn, you go and apply for a job on LinkedIn and you see who the job poster is. You can reach out to that recruiter or job poster and you can let them know, I just applied for this job. I am missing one of the qualifications, but I feel like I supplement that qualification with X, Y, and Z experience, the impact and results that I've been able to get for past employers. I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know I'm really interested in this job, and I hope you will take a look at my resume. So you're going to have to take initiative to do a little bit more than just rely on those online applications when you don't tick all the boxes, so to speak. So another way you can bypass ATS is to contact the company directly, either through, a job fair. If you're making a major career change and you don't have all of the specific credentials they're looking for, getting involved in virtual job fairs or even in-person job fairs can also help you, so to say, bypass or skip the line with ATS because you are having discussions directly with representatives of those companies, and if you don't have every single qualification, especially at job fairs, you're already getting your foot in the door, so to speak, before you even need to apply. Obviously, you're still going to need to apply, but you're letting them know, okay, I don't have this particular skill, but I have this transferable skill that I feel is equally beneficial and can help me either gain that skill or replace that skill. So hopefully that is a helpful approach for you to take when you don't, as you put it, tick all the boxes. Let's see, what is another question we have? How much do I charge for optimizing a resume? Great question. All of my prices are based on background and career goals, so I can't give you a firm quote up front. I can definitely share some additional information with you later. I do have a how much will my targeted resume cost quiz on my website. That's offtheclockresumes.com/quote. That will help you very quickly get a quote based on your background and career goals. But ultimately, I don't give a firm quote until I've reviewed your resume and I have reviewed your job targets and assessed essentially where you're at in my pricing tiered levels. All right, so let's go back and talk about some other issues I see job seekers running into, why they're not landing those interviews, especially the interviews that they're definitely qualified for. I'm hearing a lot of job seekers say, well, my resume should be working for a wide range of jobs, but I'm not landing any interviews. I hear a lot of job seekers don't want to target their resumes because they're afraid they're going to miss out on opportunities. It's limiting their options. Well, the problem is if a resume you've created works for a wide range of opportunities, it's really not going to position you as the best fit for any job. You have to tailor your resume for that specific job. There are quick ways you can do that. If your job search is targeted, meaning you're really targeting a certain job title or a certain type of job, you may not need to do a complete rewrite every time you apply. You will likely only need to tweak a couple branding elements, like your resume title. That's what should start your resume under your contact information. Title your resume the exact job title you are applying for. That's a quick way to tailor your resume. Making sure that your skills section is talking to the specific skills of that particular job posting. You can just swap those bullets out, swap those keywords out very quickly. That's another way to target it. Make sure you're addressing the goals of that role. So if you are targeting a wide range of jobs with one resume, you're not going to be able to say, these are the goals of the role that I understand and I can meet and exceed because you're trying to be everything to everyone. So that is an issue I'm seeing that is preventing a lot of job seekers from landing the interviews that they want. So I'm going to take a look here at the comments. Do we have any other questions at this time? I'm happy to take any questions. I'm not seeing anything else pop up right now. Um, Let's talk a little bit about how you can get some help with your resume quickly. So, I've already had someone ask about my pricing. I love working on resumes with my clients. My done for you resume services do range from about $400 to $1,000 depending on your background and career goals. But I am booking clients out a week or two in advance. I know a lot of job seekers have needs for their resume much quicker than that. So I created the Resume Rescue Workshop. And what this is it's an on demand 1 hour workshop that includes ATS friendly resume templates and worksheets, as well as the actual workshop guiding you through how to craft an interview winning resume very quickly. Most of my workshop participants finish the workshop and send me their resume to review. That is included in the Resume Rescue Workshop within the day that they purchased it or within just a day or two of purchasing the Resume Rescue Workshop. Now, I want to get as many people help with their resumes as possible. So I want to share a little, actually a pretty big discount on the Resume Rescue Workshop, and it is basically little over 50% off. The workshop is valued at $378. So that's the workshop, the templates, the worksheets, the value you get from it, also the feedback you get from me when you finish. I review, I even make minor edits to your resume when you're done. So the Resume Rescue Workshop valued at $378. I typically sell for 97, but the first 5 people who use discount code RRW50, that's Resume Rescue Workshop RRW50, the first 5 to use this discount code will get the Resume Rescue Workshop for only $47. So if you are watching from LinkedIn or YouTube, you should see a QR code. Hopefully, the link was dropped in the comments as well to go straight into where you can purchase this. There are multiple editions. There's an edition, excuse me, for college graduates, for career changers, for mid-career professionals, and also for IT professionals. So if you want some quick help with your resume, this is a quick way to get instant access into this on-demand workshop, get your template, start filling in the blanks, and get feedback from me, a certified resume writer, with those minor edits to polish it up when you are done. Now, I'm also doing something really special for this particular discount code. If for some reason you miss the opportunity or you feel that you really need one on one help with your resume, this discount code, RRW50, can also be applied, and there is no limit to this, towards my Done For You services. $50 off my Done For You services. So you might want to just hold on to this discount code just in case you do decide you want to work one on one with me and have a $50 discount on the Done For You resume services. This is not a limited discount code for Done For You services. Only the first 5 to use this for the Resume Rescue Workshop will get this discount, this $50 off, $47 instead of $97 for the Resume Rescue Workshop. If you are watching on Instagram, you can get to the Resume Rescue Workshop by going to my bio link, looking in the job search shop, and finding the Resume Rescue Workshop there. And this discount code, again, there's only 5 available to get the over 50% off, $50 off the $97 Resume Rescue Workshop. So hopefully you take advantage of this discount. Don't worry, there's going to be a couple more discounts down the road if you do miss out on the opportunity to get $50 off of the Resume Rescue Workshop or my Done For You resume services. Any other questions at this time? I haven't really seen anything come through yet. So let's dive into another topic of, why you aren't getting the interviews, especially when you know you are qualified for these jobs. I want to talk a little bit about resume design. So I see quite a few really pretty graphic resumes. Graphic resumes typically have multiple columns. They're using text boxes to organize information. Often they'll have graphics like even a headshot. There's a whole discussion around why you shouldn't have your photo on a resume if you're applying to jobs in the United States. We're not going to dive into that right now. What we're going to talk about is why a resume design or layout using multiple columns or text boxes is going to have an issue with ATS and recruiters when you're applying for jobs online. So, when it comes to ATS, resume screening software will read your resume from left to right, like we do when we read a document. We read from left to right. So, if your resume is organized in multiple columns, it's reading your resume in a very jumbled way. It's reading details in this column over to this column. that information is being collected and stored in that profile the ATS is building for you incorrectly. Now, let's talk about the recruiters. I have had feedback from recruiters saying they can't stand the multiple column layout and design of resumes because it's forcing their eye to bounce all over rather than the natural way they want to read a document, which is what we call an E or F pattern. So they'll read across the top and then down the side and over. So that's what they call the E or F pattern. And it's the natural way we want to read a document. So if you have these multiple columns or if you're using text boxes to organize information, you're forcing the eye to bounce around. It's frustrating and annoying. Recruiters are looking at content, they're not looking at design. Yes, they want to see that you have a very well laid out and organized resume, but trying to cram everything into a template that has multiple columns is going to hurt you and probably cost you the interview. All right, so I see I might have some questions. So I'm going to hop on over to the chat and see what we've got going on. All right. It's from a past client. You've rebuilt my resume 5 years ago. Since then, I've only had one other job. Is there a way to take a second look at it, refresh it? Absolutely. So, I do have revision services. I have updating services available to my clients through the client portal on my website. I will shoot you an email, George, at the end of this live stream with how to get into the client portal, how to refresh your resume if you think it needs refresh. If you just want to add your new work history, we can get you into a resume update service as well. I'll go ahead and send you that email when we finish the live office hours today so we can touch base on updating your resume. All right. Any other questions? I'm not seeing anything pop up right now. I'm going to give it another minute. I want to talk a little bit more about text boxes because there are going to be some resume writers that say you can build a resume that is ATS friendly with text boxes. Now, the premise behind text boxes is whatever content you have in a text box needs to be in the body of the resume first because whatever is in a text box may not be read correctly or completely ignored by ATS. So the premise is if you're going to be doing some fancy designs in Microsoft Word, you want to make sure that any content you have in a text box is going to be found in the body of the resume too or also. So yes, you can definitely have text boxes in a very pretty designed Word document. But if you're a job seeker who doesn't want to do all of the fancy things in Microsoft Word, you want to have that minimalist, modern resume layout, a one column layout and designed resume, you can still have a nicely designed resume in Microsoft Word without using text boxes. Some of the design elements you can use are colored fonts, you can use color shading, borders, bold and italicized text. There's a lot of design elements you can do within Microsoft Word without doing anything that's going to trip up ATS. All right. Another thing I'm seeing often tripping up job seekers and keeping them from landing the interviews that they are definitely qualified for, these jobs that they know they're qualified for, has to do with the amount of information they're sharing. So, listing detailed information with dates prior to 2010, it's going to draw attention to your age in a negative way. And what I mean by that is, I'm not talking strictly about age discrimination and age bias. Yes, that is a real problem in hiring. But what I'm talking about is drawing attention away from the value that you offer. Most recruiters, even at the executive level, are hiring at the executive level are really only looking at your last 10 to 15 years of experience. If your resume is going in a lot of detail beyond that, you're droning on. And there are actually some other negative elements to really emphasizing older experience. Um, for example, I've had conversations with recruiters that they say it really doesn't present you as the forward thinking professional that you definitely want to show. It might show or give the impression that you're really stuck on older methodologies, older technologies, older best practices, and that's going to be a turnoff. If you have older experience that's no longer relevant, you need to trim it down and summarize it rather than listing it in a ton of detail with all these dates, because that that could be keeping you from landing interviews. And often I get the question, how long should a resume be? One page, two page, three page. Very rarely do I write an executive level resume. That's, director up to C level resume that is 3 pages. I have made some exceptions, but your resume should be no more than 2 pages. If you've held the exact same job with the exact same responsibilities for over 10 years, a one-page resume is going to be just as effective for you as it is for a college graduate who has only held one job in the last 5 years or has only held a couple of jobs or even no jobs. So, when it comes to page number, you really don't need to worry so much about it. It just needs to be appropriate for your background and how you're going to present the value you offer very quickly but effectively. You also don't want to trim details that are going to help you stand out. I actually worked with a client who sent me a one-page resume. It looked crammed. I mean, he had over 15 years of experience, which I'm not saying he needed to detail all 15 years, but he was cramming all of that into one page. And when we start talking and really pulling these examples from his background that showed the impact of his skills on, achieving goals and driving revenue and cost savings, he had trimmed so much from his resume just to fit it all into a one-page template. He was selling himself short, didn't even realize he was doing that. So, when it comes to, finessing how much information is just enough or not enough, don't worry so much about page length, worry more about what value you're presenting to employers and in what time frame. Because, if your most relevant experience is over 20 years old, summarize it, don't add the dates, show that you have that experience without really claiming the time period that you achieved those things or earned those goals. I'm sorry, earned those skill sets. There we go. I'm tripping over my words a little bit today. All right. Any other questions? I am happy to answer any questions about dates of employment. I'm really not going to dive deep into major career changes where if you've got much older experience and you're trying to get back into a career you left 20 years ago. I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but I would be happy to answer any specific questions that you have about timeline issues that you feel are keeping you from landing the jobs that you want, or essentially the interviews for the jobs that you want. All right, so let's talk about. Oh, I love this. I love this topic. So, most resumes have a resume summary at the top, right? Well, if your resume starts with a paragraph or bullets that only summarize your skills and experience, you are missing the mark. I'm not saying not to have a resume summary. I'm saying upgrade that resume summary and turn it into what I call a branding statement. So if you're introducing yourself with the same information they're going to find throughout the rest of your resume, why would they even bother reading that summary? Instead, if you use that summary and create a branding statement that says, I understand the goals of this role. I can meet and exceed the goals of this role based on my past performance. That is going to help you stand out in that initial read from a recruiter or hiring decision maker because you're starting your resume with what problems you solve, what value you offer, and what you're going to bring to the table if they hire you. This is an element that you can help you really help you stand out from other applicants with similar skills and years of experience. I hate to break it to you, there are going to be a lot of people applying for the same jobs as you who have similar skills, who have similar experience. You can't say that's what helps you stand out because the competition is so high. And if you're not landing interviews, it's likely because you're not adding elements to your resume that help you stand out from those other candidates with very similar backgrounds to you. So, when it comes to building a branding statement, I do offer what I call a branding statement cheat sheet. It's only $15, but I do include it in the Resume Rescue Workshop. It's one of the worksheets that I provide to help you craft interview winning content very quickly and really that you can rework for different opportunities down the road. So, this branding statement cheat sheet helps you rework your branding statement for different opportunities based on the goals of the role, based on what you're super excited about for that type of role. And I really do feel that the branding statement is an important element that a lot of people are just not spending the time crafting effectively on their resumes. So that's why it's an important element I cover in detail during the resume rescue workshop. So again, if you missed the chance to get the first discount, again, there are only 5 available to get over 50% off the Resume Rescue Workshop. I have another one for you. So this discount is a little over 30% off. You'll get $30 off the Resume Rescue Workshop. Instead of $97, you can get it for $67. Again, this is a 1-hour on demand workshop that includes ATS friendly, modern, minimalistically designed resume templates, the worksheets, including the branding statement cheat sheet to help you craft interview winning content. And it also includes a resume review from a certified resume writer. That's me. When you are finished, I will make minor edits, polish it up for you, give you some additional personalized feedback, send it back to you, ready to go, much faster than if you decided to work one on one with me with my done for you resume services. I typically book out a couple weeks in advance. So if you need help sooner, the Resume Rescue Workshop is a fantastic way to get resume help and guidance from me, even though it's not, done for you. You're still getting a lot of the strategies and a lot of the tools that will help you craft your resume time and time again. And this is another limited discount. There's only 5 available. So the first 5 to use discount code RRW30, RRW30, again for Resume Rescue Workshop, RRW30 is the first 5 of you will get the Resume Rescue Workshop for $67 instead of $97. Now, if you are watching from Instagram, you can find the Resume Rescue Workshop on my website by hopping over to my profile, hitting that bio link, going into the job search shop. You will find the Resume Rescue Workshop there. Otherwise, I believe if you are watching on YouTube or LinkedIn, those links should be dropping in the comments. If they're not, you can find them on my website at offtheclockresumes.com under the job search shop. You will find all of the do it yourself options, including the Resume Rescue Workshop. All right. So we have talked about the Resume Rescue Workshop and how this will help you create an interview winning resume time and time again that gets through resume screening software called Applicant Tracking System and in front of hiring decision makers. And again, you do work with me a little bit. You can send your resume to me when you're finished. And I will give it a review. I'll give you some personalized feedback. I'll even make some minor edits to polish it up and send it back to you rather quickly. So, this is a great option. Again, $30 off with this discount code. And if you have any questions about the Resume Rescue Workshop, you can feel free to ask me that as well while we are in our live office hours. Let's talk about let's see first. Do I have any questions? Anybody want to pop in with a question in the comments? I'm happy to talk about resume design, about those branding statements, the difference between a summary and a branding statement. I'm happy to answer any more questions if that wasn't quite clear. Happy to answer. I'm not seeing anything pop in yet, so I'm going to keep an eye on the chat, but let's talk a little bit more about other challenges that are keeping you from landing interviews. All right. So we need to talk a little bit about what recruiters really want to see that they're not seeing on resumes. So if you claim to have a skill in a skills section or even a branding statement, but you don't have an example of how you put that skill in action and what impact that skill had, recruiters really aren't going to see the value that you offer. You can't just claim to have skills without an example of it in your resume. So, what exactly does that look like? Your experience section needs to focus less on the company. I see this often in LinkedIn profiles, even where the experience section focuses on what the company does rather than what you do for the company. In a resume, I often see just a summary of typical tasks and responsibilities. Those can be great for keyword optimization, and that can be a great place to really give examples of your skills in action. Don't just say you were responsible for managing projects. Talk about the projects that you managed. Don't just say that you were responsible for, I'm trying to think of another example. Let's see, for someone in, say, a planning role. You planned things. We'll talk about what you planned and why. Why is a huge help when you're crafting your resume information. Why is it necessary? Why is this skill set necessary or this project necessary? What are you trying to achieve? Did you achieve it? Showing impact through achievements bullets is really advantageous on a resume. Your resume is a marketing tool. It's not just a spec sheet or just a laundry list of skills and experience. It needs to be a marketing tool for you because there are going to be others with similar skills. There are going to be others with similar years of experience or experience in general. And what's going to help you stand out is the impact you were able to make for your past employers by utilizing the skills that the job you're targeting is looking for you to have. So if you can connect the dots for recruiters and hiring decision makers, you're looking for someone with this skill set. I have this skill set. Here's how I used it for this employer. Result me using that to help you stand out and help you land those interviews that much faster. So I'm not seeing any other questions yet. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the content that you choose to put in your resume. Are you adding too much? Are you adding too little? How long of an experience section should you have? Each job block needs to still be easy to skim. So does that mean 4 bullets? Does that mean 6? I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about writing your resume. Now, if you are interested in having me personally review your resume and give you some feedback without working with me through the done for you resume services, I do offer what I call a 12-point resume critique. And this critique you can find on my website, offtheclockresumes.com/critique. You should also be able to click the link in the comments if you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn. If you are on Instagram, you can actually find my 12-point resume critique linked anywhere on my website resume services pages. So if you hop on over to offtheclockresumes.com/critique, takes you straight to it. Otherwise, you'll find it in multiple places on my website. And what I'm doing here is I'm reviewing your resume and I'm giving you the 12-point feedback on, how is it going to get through applicant tracking systems if that is your primary source of how you're getting your resume out and applying for jobs. I'm also going to give you some tips on how to make it easier to skim. I'm also going to let you know how it does as far as content goes. So this 12-point resume critique I offer for only $37, and I put together a personalized review video, send it off to you within a few days, and you can review the video. You can send back other questions after the critique. There's a lot of flexibility here to get one-on-one feedback from me without working with me on the done for you resume services. So again, offtheclockresumes.com/critique is how you can uh, get yourself a $37 12-point resume critique. So I think I have a few questions here. I'm going to take a look. Um, nope, it looks like it was just my link to the 12-point resume critique. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the things we've talked about already. We've talked about how if you're being rejected instantly or quickly, meaning in less than 24 hours, it's likely because of how you answered one of the application knockout questions, not because your resume isn't getting through applicant tracking systems. We talked about keyword optimization both for resume screening software and for recruiters because you can't just write for the bots. The bots are not the only reader of your resume. In fact, I take a very balanced approach to resumes. Your resume typically has 3 audiences or 3 readers, and that's the applicant tracking systems. It's looking for keywords a certain way, recruiters or HR professionals doing that initial resume review. And then there's the hiring decision makers. These are the direct supervisors or the hiring managers who are making ultimate decisions on who's going to land the interview. They're all looking for something different. They're either looking for keywords or they're looking for impact. So you really got to balance your resume with both to be able to land the interview. We also talked about tailoring your resume for each job that you apply for. Now, keyword optimization is, if you're applying for jobs online, that is a bare minimum to make sure you're putting yourself up to be selected for an interview through applicant tracking systems. You have to add in those keywords. That doesn't mean you're adding in dozens of keywords. It means you're focusing on the top, I don't know, 6 to 10 keywords that are the top functional job related skills, and making sure they're in your resume and easy to find both by applicant tracking systems and by recruiters. Now, if you're trying to use one resume for multiple jobs, it won't work. One resume can't work for a wide range of jobs. It just can't, because you're not positioning yourself as the best fit for any job. And instead of limiting your opportunities, you're actually positioning yourself as the best fit and making yourself more desirable in the hiring process. So, we also talked about getting through resume screening software based on your design or layout and the things that trip it up. You can still add design elements without tripping up resume screening software. You shouldn't use multiple columns. Both recruiters don't like it and applicant tracking systems don't like it. Using text boxes to organize your information. It's going to be completely ignored by ATS or not read correctly by ATS. You also want to make sure that you are utilizing design elements that are not going to cause issues, meaning a minimalistic design is going to be more effective than something flashy. Now, even for creative industries, now I actually had someone reach out to me recently who is in a very creative industry, and he was worried about the design of his resume. He wanted something flashier, he wanted something more visibly attractive because of his background in creative industry. Now, if he's applying for jobs online, which he is, he needs to think about how his resume is getting through these different gatekeepers, these different readers to be able to land the interview. I actually recommended he have two resumes. He have the one that he's applying for online, and then he has more of a sales page marketing document that is, flashier and shows off his creative skills, that he sends separately, even either for an interview or to the recruiter or the job poster. However he wants to get that in front of someone who's going to be making decisions, because no matter what, you're going to be applying for jobs online. Your resume needs to be compatible with resume screening software, and that's a good way to make sure that it is utilizing that one column layout and minimalistic design. Now, another issue I see quite often is how much information they're listing on their resume, and that actually preventing job seekers from landing interviews. I work with quite a few older professionals, I'm saying over 50 years old, and often they're very attached to that older experience from 20, 25 years ago, and detailing it and taking up almost an entire page of their resume for experience that is going to be looked at as irrelevant because of how old it is. Not just technology, but methodologies, um, best practices. They change dramatically across a wide range of industries and fields. So, holding on to your past is not going to present you as the forward thinking professional that recruiters and hiring decision makers want to see in their applicants. And we also talked about the resume summary, making sure it's a strong branding statement instead. And if you have work history timeline issues, if you are making major career changes, if you are missing credentials, you may need to take the initiative to skip the line or bypass ATS by utilizing tools like LinkedIn, for example, to get in touch with recruiters or others who work at the companies that you're trying to get a foot in the door at, and letting them know, hey, I'm missing this credential, but I did apply. I feel like I'm a great candidate despite missing this credential because of X, Y, and Z. I really would love it if you would review my resume. Taking that initiative can really help when ATS or resume screening software might not be working to your advantage. All right, so we've covered quite a bit of information on why you aren't landing interviews. I do want to share one more discount code with you today. So if you missed out on the opportunity to get $50 off the Resume Rescue Workshop, $30 off the Resume Rescue Workshop, I am also providing, for a much longer period of time and no limitations to how many can be used, a 10% $10 off discount with discount code RRW10. That will get you the $97 Resume Rescue Workshop for $87. You can again see the link dropped in the comments if you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube. If you're watching on Instagram, you just want to hop on over to my profile, click my bio link, get into the job search shop, where then you will find the Resume Rescue Workshop. Just as a quick reminder, the Resume Rescue Workshop comes in multiple editions. There is a college graduate edition with a template designed just for you because it is designed to showcase that experience and downplay any, or I'm sorry, showcase that education and downplay any experience that you don't have. We're making it a very nice presented one-page resume with the career change, or I'm sorry, the college graduate edition. The Career Change Edition is also available to help you focus on the skills that you do have, downplay the skills that you don't, and have a very polished, minimalistic design for your resume. The Mid Career Edition is the easiest for reworking for different job opportunities as they apply, because if you're a mid career professional, you're applying for similar roles that you've held in the past, this is going to be the easiest to swap out those skills and tailor for different opportunities as they arise. There's also an IT edition, a tech edition, which has a section on that template just for organizing your technical skills, because those need to be included for keyword optimization but not necessarily showcased on the first page. The IT professionals I work with really struggle to connect the dots between their technical skills and the impact, the business impact that they offer. And that is what that template helps you focus on, is the business impact and not necessarily the technical skills. So, the Resume Rescue Workshop includes the ATS friendly, minimalistic, modern resume templates. It includes worksheets to help you craft that interview worthy content, as well as the 1 hour long workshop guiding you through step by step how to analyze job postings, what information you need to work within those worksheets and craft that content. Those templates are fill in the blank style. They're very easy to use with Microsoft Word. The workshop also includes a resume review where I will review your resume, give you personalized feedback, make minor edits, and get it back to you polished and ready for application much faster than if you choose to work with me one on one with my done for you resume services. You are more than welcome to work with me or start the process to work with me one on one, but I do book my clients out several weeks in advance, typically 1 to 2 weeks, but sometimes when I am backed up, it could be 3 to 4 weeks before we're able to start your resume project. That's why the Resume Rescue Workshop, you get instant access to when you purchase, instant access to the templates. You can dive right in and get your resume to me very quickly to review and polish up before you need to send it off for that application. All right. I don't see any more questions popping up. Um, just another reminder about that first discount code I did give you, the $50 off of the Resume Rescue Workshop. If you missed the opportunity, because there's only 5 available, to get $50 off the Resume Rescue Workshop, you can use that discount code to get $50 off my done for you resume services, should you choose to work with me and have the time to get on my calendar for your project. So make sure to hold on to that discount code. That one is RRW50. But you can always get 10% off of the Resume Rescue Workshop for watching my live office hours today. That 10% or $10 off discount code is RRW1010. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for my office hours. I don't see any other questions popping into the comments right now, so I'm not going to take up any more of your time. If you decide that you do have a question you want to send my way, you can definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn, on YouTube comments, also here on Instagram. I tend to pop up on Instagram stories throughout the week. I'm also using LinkedIn quite a bit to talk with job seekers, answer questions, and also even one of my previous clients asking me to touch base with him about updating his resume. Happy to do so either on LinkedIn or by email. So I am on these platforms, happy to answer questions that you have. If you on YouTube, take a look at my other videos. I have a wide range of Q&A related videos for both resume tips and LinkedIn tips. I also have a lot of freebies available on Instagram and on LinkedIn. You can take a look at those. There's a 5-day resume rescue challenge. There's my free LinkedIn headline generator. I have a lot of free resources available to job seekers. On Instagram, you can find that again at my bio link. I just want to thank you again for your time. And hopefully, you were able to take some of the tips that I gave you and apply them to your job search and hopefully start landing a lot more interviews for the jobs that you know you deserve. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great rest of your day.